Hey guys, welcome back. It is time for another reaction video, and today I'm going to be reacting to 10 weird things Americans don't realize aren't normal. It should be pretty fun to check this out. I think I've reacted to some of her videos in the past, and it'll be fun to see her take on American things that she thinks are not normal and see if I agree with them or if she's on point. If you are new here, I encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you're returning and haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe as well. Let's get into the video.
So today I'm missing my trips to America. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I really want to come back. Never back in.
There are a million valid reasons.
I genuinely can't wait for all of this to be over so I get to travel again. It will be so great. I wanted to look at a couple of observations that I made while I was traveling about the way you do some things differently than how we do them. Almost exactly like what this channel is about, cultural observation. Before I get into the video, do be sure to subscribe, otherwise the next time your dog gives you a kiss, it won't be a nice kiss, it'll be a big lick kiss that's real smelly and drooly and not a lovely lick kiss, it'll just be a boo. And if you don't have a dog, well, that's curse enough. And good news for the channel, thanks to so many of you guys trialing Surfshark, and they are back to support us on another video. It's an app and browser.
I like her cup here in the back. I'm gonna pass the Surfshark intro here.
Surfshark, and on with the video. Yippee! Okay, the first thing that you guys do that I noticed, and this was when I was tailgating the first time in Texas, is that you guys boil hot dogs. Now, who am I, an Irish person, to argue with how the Americans do hot dogs? But I have to say, this did seem odd to me. In Ireland, generally speaking, when it comes to frankfurters, which is what we put in hot dogs here, we put them in the microwave?
Microwaves? Are you kidding me?
If you're doing a barbecue, usually you'll put the hot dog on the barbecue. It won't be a frankfurter, it'll be like a different kind of sausage, but never, ever, ever would it have occurred to me to boil the hot dog. And as if I didn't have a confirmation enough in itself, when I came back and I did a hot dog eating contest here in Ireland, you guys ripped me to shreds for putting them in the microwave.
I don't eat hot dogs anymore. When I was younger, I did. I don't think we ever boiled hot dogs. We probably put them in the microwave. If you're barbecuing, you put them on the grill. And are there other ways you cook hot dogs? I don't know. I'm not saying boiling doesn't take place, but it's not like the go-to method, at least that I'm not familiar with. I think most people would put them in the microwave, put them on a grill, maybe even put them in like a pan and cook them on the stovetop, but not boiling them. I think the only places you might see boiling them is like schools or cafeterias or something like that. I could be wrong. You guys tell me if you're an American watching this. Do you boil your hot dogs? Because I don't have. That's not the way I would do it.
I can't even imagine how to boil a hot dog. I wouldn't know where to begin. I guess you just boil the water and put the hot dogs in. And then how do you know they're done? Is it like an egg? You just kind of guess? I know I'm not the greatest at cooking, but I think you'll find most people in Ireland would find it surprising that you boil the hot dogs. Again, I'm going to bow to you on this one. You are the capital of hot dogs, so I don't know, whatever way it's translated here, we're doing it wrong. The next thing is your mailboxes. You guys have your mailboxes outside on the grass or really far away from your house. In Ireland, our mailboxes are in the front door, like they're part of the front door. Do you have that there at all, or is it just the far away ones? I was recently watching one of my true crime things about this woman who went missing when she went to her mailbox, and I was so confused for the first 20 minutes of that show. I was literally like, she went to the front door. How did she go missing between her front door and her sitting room? Where could she have gone?
I can't find her anywhere.
And
I think the explanation for this is efficiency. So here, I'm in Houston, Texas, wearing one of my, I'm wearing one of my Texas shirts right now. In the older neighborhoods of the city, there are still some mailboxes that are up on the house or on the door. But that mail has to be delivered on foot. So that means that the mailman has to carry all the mail, which would be kind of burdensome if you ask me. Where most of our mail is delivered straight from the mail car. So it's just a truck, just like any other like cargo vehicle, except for the steering wheel is on the opposite side of the vehicle, so that they can just drive down the street and put the mail straight from the vehicle into the mailbox. And then in some of the other areas of Houston and the surrounding areas, they have now these like central mailboxes in neighborhoods. So the mailbox isn't even on your own front yard or your curb at your own house. Now the mailboxes are like, they'll have maybe 20 or 30 or 40 houses worth of mailboxes all in one spot on one street, kind of like a PO box style mailbox. It's just like metal boxes with a key. I'm not particularly fond of those. If I want to get the mail, I don't want to have to get in my vehicle and drive to the mailbox. And if you're thinking, why don't you just walk there? Because I live in Houston, Texas, where it's 100 degrees outside most time of the year. So walking, that far to just get the mail is, you'll come back and you'll be all nasty and sweaty. So I don't really care for the centralized mailboxes. I don't so much mind it on the curb, though. I think that's perfectly fine and acceptable.
And then it turned out her mailbox was 1.5 miles away from her house.
So she's saying here 1.5 miles. That's probably, like I was saying, the centralized mailboxes.
I can't find her anywhere.
And then it turned out her mailbox was 1.5 miles away from her house. Like, what? I understand in some cases that makes sense when you live on like a cliff or something, that your mailbox might need to be far away for access for the postman. But it seems to me that all houses have their mailboxes away from the front door. How comes? Is it just accessibility? Or would it be that much harder to go up to the front door? And is that why a lot of your Amazon deliveries get stolen? Because people put them at your post box?
Amazon deliveries are typically going to be put on the porch, because that's a different style of delivery, which is going to usually be an Amazon driver, UPS, FedEx. Sometimes the post office will do the last mile, meaning it gets shipped nationally via UPS or FedEx, and then it gets handed off to the post office. But yeah, packages are usually left on the doorstep or the front porch, not at your mailbox.
Rather than at your front door? The next thing that I noticed is you guys call each other by your last names, like a lot. There are certain scenarios here when we'll call each other by our last names, Jennings, usually when somebody's being like cute or cheeky or something. Or if you're in the army. I'm not in the army, so that it doesn't happen often. In America,
I don't really find it that common to call anybody by their last name. I think the only time you might perhaps see that is maybe people who are in sports, and they're often going to put the last name on the back of their jersey rather than their first name. And so maybe collectively in that group, they might get more used to calling each other by their last name, and then sometimes that might expand beyond that. But I want to say, I can't think of, I'm trying to make sure I'm not misspeaking here. I can't really think of anybody that I actively call by their last name. I can't really think of a single person I call by their last name. So that's, I don't know where she was visiting or where she was that was the common thing, was to call someone by their last name. I don't really follow that.
America, it seems like you guys know each other by your last names in a lot of cases. Do sometimes you not know people's first names? Like Flanders. Everyone in the neighborhood calls him Flanders. I know he's a fictitious character, but I don't think I recall anyone on The Simpsons, aside from his wife, calling him Ned.
Not true.
Ned? It'd be...
Ned's a funny name. Are any of the viewers called Ned? That's a funny name. I don't know, it just struck me as funny. It's not like Miss Jennings, it's just Jennings. The next thing that I noticed is strange in America is you have to have ID on you at all times. Now, I've spoken about needing ID in bars and stuff there, which seems strange to us here in Ireland, because if you look like you're over 18 or over 25, you definitely don't need an ID here. But something I haven't touched upon is the fact that you actually need to carry ID on you in America all the time.
ID, please.
Now, here in Ireland, if pressed, I probably have got some kind of form of identification in my wallet if I looked. I mean, my credit card has my name on it. My provisional license has my name on it as of recently, but it's not something I have to have. I can never imagine being stopped by the Gardaí and asked for my ID and being very expected to have it, I might just say I don't have ID. Hypothetically, were you a young student caught on the Lewis without a ticket, you could arguably say that you don't have ID on you, and that would be very much accepted. Not that I've ever been in that scenario. That never happened. Always.
I believe you're not required to have ID until you're at least 18 years of age. If you're under 18, it's likely you might not have an ID, anything more than possibly like a school ID. I know in Texas you can get a state ID issued to you. If you're under 18 without it being a driver's license, you can just get a state ID. The reasoning behind it is there's several reasons. One, if you're committing a crime of some sort, they need to verify who you are. And the other being if something unfortunate happened to you, an accident, maybe you're walking down the street, somebody hits you and leaves, they come and they find your body. They have no idea who you are if you have no ID on you. How are they supposed to identify you, to notify your next of kin, or to even begin any form of an investigation if they have no clue who you are? So, I mean, I understand some people want the anonymity of not knowing who they are, but typically the people who want that anonymity is because they're up to no good. So if somebody's wandering your neighborhood and they look suspicious and the cop comes up and says, "What's your name?" and they seem like they're not giving a legitimate name, and then they say, "Well, let me see your ID." If they don't have an ID and they may not be giving a realistic name, then it makes it more difficult to run a check and see if they are who they say they are and what they would be doing in that area, and if they really were up to mischief and then they just let them go and they went on to do something worse. So I have no problem carrying an ID. Do people forget to carry one at times? Yeah, of course, people are forgetful. Do I think it's a problem that you should have your ID on you? I don't think it's that big of a deal personally. I think unless you're up to no good, there should be no reason you should be worried about having your ID on you.
Buy a Lewis ticket, kids. But I think I gave a false name or something. Me? I didn't. Oh God, no, it's gone. Here. But yeah, it just seems funny to us here that you guys have to have your ID on you at all times. It makes total sense in a way. Like if you accidentally got hit by a car or something.
Literally what I just said. I guess I should have let her finish talking. I thought she was done with her point. That's funny. She's literally re-saying what I just said.
Have your ID on you at all times. It makes total sense in a way. Like if you accidentally got hit by a car or something and went to hospital, people would know who you are. Whereas here, I don't know, they'd have to check your phone or something. Like you probably would have a wallet on you with your name on it, but you wouldn't be required to. Is it required there? Am I wrong? The next thing that seems really strange to me, and my question for you is this surrounding religion, is to do with funerals. Something cheery of a Friday, huh? It seems to me like your funerals all take place by the graveside.
May your soul rest in peace.
In Ireland, they'll usually take place in a church of whatever denomination. Is that only if you're religious there? I have never seen a funeral take place by the graveside. What happens in Ireland is you do the church thing, and then you all go to the graveside and you say a little prayer by the coffin, and then you all leave. But there, you sit around it and you throw things on it, and then you watch as it gets lowered down, and it all seems just very, I don't know, I find that very emotionally traumatic, but maybe you'll disagree with me. Maybe you say it makes you have a good goodbye to the person. I see the theory in that. Let me know your thoughts on graveside funerals in the comments.
I think this varies quite a bit. Unfortunately, I have attended far more funerals than I would have liked to. Matter of fact, I just went to one about a week ago. There's a lot of factors. If you're religious, no matter what religion you are, there may be something held at a church or some sort of a temple or some sort of a religious structure. And sometimes a funeral could be a 2-day thing. In the Catholic religion, I'm Catholic. They'll usually do like a visiting the day before. It might be called a wake, where you can come in and see the family. If it's for instance, like an open casket or something, you can go up, say your final goodbyes to them, see them one last time. If it's a closed casket, still similar, but just a closed casket. And then, with Catholicism, they'll do a number of prayers. They'll say some speeches. Some people might come up and say a few things. And then typically the following day will be the actual funeral. Now, whether or not the funeral or that other ceremony I just mentioned is at a church, or sometimes it's at a funeral home, which is typically just a room with either pews or seats that looks sort of like a church setting, but it's not necessarily a church. Sometimes those are at the actual cemetery. Sometimes they're a structure that just that's there just to host the event, and then from there you go to the graveside, like she was just talking about. The graveside part is usually under like a covered tent, and they'll usually have a couple of rows of seats for the immediate family, and then everybody else kind of stands around wherever you can kind of stand. They might do some final prayers or some final words, depending if it's a religious funeral or not, religious service or not. And then the lowering of the casket, I think, varies from one location to another. There's been some where they don't lower it while you're there. They lower it after everybody's left. And then there's some where they literally lower it and then you say your goodbyes. And then you'll typically go to some sort of a reception of some sort, whether it's back at somebody's house, back at the funeral home, or maybe like a hall or reception area at the church. And people will usually gather and share a meal or some drinks or whatever and console the family and get to, see everybody to say their goodbyes and give their condolences. So it's not always strictly on graveside. Now, sometimes they might skip the church service, and sometimes they might skip the hosting it at a funeral home. There's a lot of factors, and also funerals are very, very, very expensive. So sometimes people can't afford to do all the extras. They can literally only afford to do the burial service, and so then they might just do it straight by the graveside. So hopefully that helps to make some sense on that. If you're American and watching this, maybe you can chime in and tell me what your thoughts are on it in the comments as well.
The next thing is, I have to say, the size of your wild animals is like something to behold. In New York City, I saw a rat on the train line, and oh Jesus Christ, it was about 10 times the size of a Dublin rat.
Rats running all over the place, the size of footballs.
I can see why people are afraid of rats in America if they're that big. I guess they eat well in New York, that makes sense. Also, you have other wild animals that seem bigger, like...
Fortunately, here in Houston, yeah, there's always going to be rodents, rats, things like that. Ours are not near what they are in New York. I've seen on videos and stuff in New York that there could be some pretty bad ones. It's not a knock on New York or anything. They just have a lot of tunnels and sewers and things that run underground, and it's easy for the rats to spread. So, yeah. Let's see what other animals she talks about, though.
The squirrels walking around the parks there seem bigger. I know often internationally there's a joke about how American people are bigger, but nobody ever talks about how the wild animals are bigger. They are significantly bigger. I guess it's just access to food. Maybe people throw away food a lot there.
If it's the squirrels that are like in the cities, like in the public parks and things like that, there definitely are some fat squirrels there, and it's because people feed them. They give them bread and nuts and things like that. Wild squirrels, like if you're in a residential neighborhood or something, they're usually a little leaner. They're still getting their food from wherever, or maybe they're sneaking into trash cans, or they're going into people's yards or whatever. But the ones in the cities, yeah, they're definitely some little tubby squirrels in the city. For sure. And they'll come sometimes and eat straight out of your hand. They're just so used to interaction with humans.
Also, what are those things that go in garbage bins? We don't
Raccoons.
have them here, I don't think, as much. Is it badgers?
Raccoons, aka trash pandas. And they are super mischievous. They're cute animals, but they are super mischievous. They're one of the few animals that have what was it? They have thumbs. What do you call it? Anyways, they have thumbs, so they can grab on things kind of like we can as humans, which makes them a lot more mischievous, and they're always in trash cans and creating messes.
Raccoons?
Raccoons.
They seem huge.
And they can get big.
The next thing I want to talk about is eye doctors, and the fact that you call them eye doctors and eyeglasses. Eyeglasses.
I find it funny though they say eyeglass.
Might also refer to them as an optometrist.
Hotel.
Why do they say eyeglasses? What's wrong with the hotel?
It's really old school looking. I mean, that's the start of a horror movie.
Yeah. But what would the glasses be for other than your, I suppose because you drink out of glasses. It's funny that Americans need that clarification.
We have eyeglasses, which are for your vision because you might need a prescription. Or you have sunglasses, which are there to shield the sun. Or maybe you have shooting glasses if you're somebody who likes to shoot guns and you have protective guns for that. Or maybe you have UV, not UV, what are the glasses you wear for when you're behind a computer all the time? Gamers sometimes wear them and they have like the yellow tint. So yeah, eyeglasses are typically meaning prescription glasses.
Just me.
No comment.
You have to specify there for your eyes. Here we differentiate different types of eye doctor. We have opticians, ophthalmologists, optometrists. There you just have eye doctors.
No, we don't.
And you go see the different levels of eye doctors. I'm sure technically they're called those words, but nobody seems to refer to them as those words. You just say eye doctor. And I
No.
wondered why that is.
Maybe it's a regional thing. It makes me wonder where she visited to say that. I don't really know people say they're going to the eye doctor. I think most people say they're going to go to an optometrist, just the same as they might go to a dentist or an orthodontist, depending on what they're doing orally with their mouth.
It's not so much a language thing. It's like you guys just don't differentiate between those people. And I guess if you're one of those people, you'd really want to like define the fact that you're a person who trained for like 6 years as opposed to one snobbery over your career, you know? But you guys don't, and I don't know why that is. Maybe you're just not that interested in eye doctors. The next thing is how obsessed you guys are with Halloween. And this is one that I'm all for because I love Halloween. And I gotta say, I need
Me
to
too.
study you for our Halloween episodes. They're not gonna be great this year. I had a thing planned, and because of lockdown in Dublin, I can't do it this year. We'll do something, but it just won't be the big spectacular event that pretty much nobody watches. But I know the hardcore viewers of this channel enjoy. We'll do something, it just won't be that.
Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. And ever since I was a kid, I've always been into decorating for Halloween. And in my 20s, maybe into my 30s, I'm not sure, my brother and I and his wife would host Halloween parties, like really, really elaborate Halloween parties with ridiculous amounts of decorations. And it was before you could just go buy all the decorations off the shelf. Like we would literally make things that now you could just go buy them. They're available on the shelves. You can go pick it up at Walmart or wherever. But we would come up with these ideas, these really elaborate ideas, and we would make them ourselves if they didn't exist. But it's just a fun holiday. It's a fun thing to do and to get everybody to dress up. And yeah, I would say that Halloween decorations are pretty much neck and neck with Christmas decorations at this point in the US. There's probably just as much money spent on Halloween as there is Christmas.
But yeah, you guys love Halloween. It's so cool. We don't have that as much here, though they are trying to commercialize it more because, you know, money. It seems like you guys hype Halloween as much as you hype Christmas. Here we have some pop-up Halloween shops that happen and sell costumes in recent years. But there, it seems like you guys have Halloween shops year-round.
We do have seasonally specific Halloween stores also that will open up typically 1 to 2 months ahead of Halloween. We have a Spirit store and Halloween Express, I think. But yeah, you'll also see it in grocery stores, Targets and Walmarts and Costco and Sam's. You'll see tons of Halloween decorations, as well as like these monster-sized bags of candy that you can buy to hand out candy for Halloween.
Also, your houses are super decorated, which is very cool too. I wonder what's going to happen this year for trick-or-treating. Oh. Well, we'll still watch scary things. It'll be okay.
I think she filmed this during COVID, that's why she's saying that.
Okay, the next thing that I've noticed is that you guys have fast food restaurants, specific ones, and then you'll have the same exact chain, like really nearby. I noticed this when I was in Walmart and there was a Dunkin' Donuts in Walmart, and then we went out into the parking lot and there was a Dunkin' Donuts out in the parking lot, and I was like, why would you need 2 Dunkin' Donuts that close together? I also noticed it with McDonald's. There was a McDonald's on one side of the road and then a McDonald's on the other side of the road in Florida. But why do you need them so close together?
Convenience. So if you're I could understand the McDonald's across the street from McDonald's being a little strange, but one being inside of Walmart and one being freestanding, is they're just capitalizing on the fact that if you're inside of Walmart, you might just go in and grab that food versus driving to it after you're done shopping. I'll also see often where parents might get their kids like French fries or nuggets or something and put the kids in the shopping cart to keep the kids occupied while they're shopping and not have to deal with it. There's a comedian, I can't think of his name, but there was a skit he did years and years ago where he said, you know, you've reached the end of the world when you walk out of a Starbucks and you look across the street and there's another Starbucks. And that whole skit that he did was actually a place here in Houston, Shepherd and West Gray. There's two Starbucks across the street from each other. And then there's a Barnes and Noble bookstore right behind one of those Starbucks. And inside of that Barnes and Noble is another Starbucks. So there's literally 3 Starbucks on the same corner. It's crazy. And when you go to our shopping malls and gallerias and things like that, there's often multiple Starbucks inside of the same mall. We just like convenience. It comes down to that. The food places I don't think is as common as like what she's talking about with the McDonald's across the street from McDonald's. Oh, but where I was going with that too is drive-through service. We have a lot of drive-through service here in the States, and there being McDonald's across the street from each other, it makes me wonder if it's like a little bit bigger road, like almost like a highway type road. It would come down to convenience. So if you're wanting to catch people on their way out to work in the morning, perhaps people who grab breakfast or something like that and eat on their way to work, well, you want to get as many customers through the door as you can. Well, not through the door, through the drive-through. So if there's enough people in that area and a large enough subdivision to support both of them, then yeah, there might be one on both sides. It's crazy, but yeah.
Surely it would be better economically for those fast food chains to spread out. Not that they aren't already, they are. Surely people aren't so lazy that they won't just walk across the road. Or maybe that's a question that's answered itself by the very fact that those restaurants are there. And the number one very strange thing, and I'm not trying to start a flame war in the comments, it's just a cultural observation, is the lack of neutrality in the press. It seems to me that news there is presented a bit like reality television, no matter what the network. Like, they'll go to tell a story and they'll have things staged within the story. Like,
they've already made their opinion up. It's not news anymore. It's propaganda at this point. Yeah, I don't like it. I think that the news should be the news. They should not be biased. They should not be trying to influence your decision based on what they're reporting on. They should strictly give the story, put out all the facts, and leave it up to you to make your own decision. I think right now, the news in the U.S. is the most polarizing it's ever been, and it's divided our country worse than it ever has been.
And everyone just accepts it, like somebody reenacting the thing that happened, so that it's like entertainment. Also, elephant in the room, your news networks have actual political sides, and here very much neutrality of the press is focused on. Obviously it comes into play that people suggest that networks or presenters don't come across as neutral or whatever, but generally speaking it's kind of held as a central belief that the news shouldn't take a side.
I agree.
Is neutrality of the press just not a thing there, I guess?
Pick a side and stay there.
And that's it for today. Let me know below in the comments what things you think I need clarification on. I always enjoy reading your comments. That's it. Bye. Why is my chair so squeaky?
She's funny. I like her videos a lot. Diane Jennings, if you're not subscribed to her, the video link will be below. Go check out some of her other content. Yeah, I think she was pretty spot on a lot of the things. I've already expressed my explanations on some of the things that she was questioning, and I could see how it would be perceived that way from her, depending on how many times she's visited or what region of the country she's visited. Because a lot of these things are very different regionally, even sometimes within the same state. You know, one city could be very, very different from another city within the same state. Yeah, so think of the United States as like 50 little countries instead of 50 states, because things can vary quite a bit. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things, and I will see you guys in the next video. Later.